Hola, 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 ¿cómo estás? Me llamo Kayla, and this is my Spanish channel, Just Kayla Think Spanish. If you're new, bienvenido. If not, bienvenido de nuevo. Today we're going to be doing some irregular present subjunctive conjugation practice. This video is for those folks who already know what the subjunctive mood is, or you're learning what the present subjunctive mood is, or you just want to practice some irregular conjugations. A quick review, un repaso rápido for AR endings in the present subjunctive tense. For yo, it's e, tú, es, él, ella, usted, nosotros, hemos, and ellos, ellas, or ustedes ends in n. For verbs ending in er or ir, the endings will be a, as, a, amos, am. And since we are focusing on irregulars, there are some stem changes that you should be aware of. So you have the E to IE, like in comenzar becomes comience. Then you have O to UE, volar becomes vuele. Then you have E to I, repetir becomes repita. And the last stem changer is C to ZC, like parecer becomes parezca. So those are stem changers that you should be aware of if you're going to be conjugating in the irregular. E goes to IE, O goes to UE, E goes to I, and C goes to ZC. It's not for every single verb, but the majority of them it is. The next thing are the endings in car, gar, zar. So car goes to que, like in buscar becomes busque. Then you have car goes to ge, like in llegar becomes llegué. Lastly, the zar goes to C. So just like in comenzar becomes comience, like we saw with the E to IE change. Those are the stem changers and the endings that you should be aware of for this irregular present subjunctive conjugation practice. Before we get started, this is just how it works. So I'll give you the infinitive verb first. Then I'll have the form that I would like you to conjugate it in parentheses. And then just for reference, I'll put the verb meaning under that. I'll give you about 3 seconds to answer, and then I'll give you the answer. And then under that, I'll have the Spanish infinitive verb, just like we saw on the last page, along with the form I would like you to conjugate it in, and then the English translation of the conjugated verb. If the 3 seconds that I give you is too long or too short, you can always change the playback speed if you just go to the settings in the bottom right of the video. Okay, let us get started. Conjugate servir with ella. Servir with ella. Servir with ella conjugates to sirva, which means she serves. Sirva, she serves. Buscar with ustedes. Buscar with ustedes. Buscar with ustedes becomes busquen. Busquen, which means they look for. Tener with nosotros. Tener with nosotros. Tener with nosotros becomes tengamos, which means we have. Tengamos. Caber with nosotros. Caber with nosotros. Caber with nosotros becomes quepamos, which means we fit. Quepamos. Tocar with tú. Tocar with tú. Tocar with tú becomes toques, which means you drink. Toques. Ver with él. Ver with él. Ver with él becomes bella, which means he sees. Bella. Apagar with ustedes. Apagar with ustedes. Apagar with ustedes becomes apaguen, which means they turn off. Apaguen. Comenzar with ella. Comenzar with ella. Comenzar with ella becomes comience, which means she starts. Comience. Buscar with yo. Buscar with yo. Buscar with yo becomes busque, which means I look. Busque. Decir with nosotros. Decir with nosotros. Decir with nosotros becomes digamos, which means we say. Digamos. Construir with ellos. Construir with ellos. Construir with ellos becomes construyan, which means they build. Construyan. Acordar with nosotros. Acordar with nosotros. Acordar with nosotros becomes acordemos, which means we agree. Acordemos. There are some verbs where the nosotros form will not be conjugated like in irregular, and I wanted to put these in here so that you could see that. Almorzar with tú. Almorzar with tú. Almorzar with tú becomes almuerces, which means you have lunch. Almuerces. Haber with usted. Haber with usted. Haber with usted becomes haya, which means you have. Haya. Halagar with yo. Halagar with yo. Halagar with yo becomes halagué, which means I flatter. Halagué. Estar with ustedes. Estar with ustedes. Estar with ustedes becomes estén, which means y'all are. Estén. Ir with tú. Ir with tú. Ir with tú becomes vayas, which means you go. Vayas. Caer with él. Caer with él. Caer with él becomes caiga, which means he falls. Caiga. Dar with yo. Dar with yo. Dar with yo becomes de, which means I give. De. Comenzar with ella. Comenzar with ella. Comenzar with ella becomes comiencen, which means she begins. Comiencen. Conocer with ellos. Conocer with ellos. Conocer with ellos becomes conozcan, which means they know. Conozcan. Construir with tú. Construir with tú. Construir with tú becomes construyas, which means you build. Construyas. Cruzar with yo. Cruzar with yo. Cruzar with yo becomes cruce, which means I cross. Cruce. Explicar with nosotros. Explicar with nosotros. Explicar with nosotros becomes expliquemos, which means we explain. Expliquemos. Elegir for él. Elegir for él. Elegir for él becomes elija, which means he chooses. Elija. Hostigar for nosotros. Hostigar for nosotros. Hostigar for nosotros becomes hostiguemos, which means we harass. Hostiguemos. Parecer for ustedes. Parecer for ustedes. Parecer for ustedes becomes perezcan, which means y'all seem. Perezcan. Poder for él. Poder for él. Poder for él becomes pueda, which means he can. Pueda. Poner for yo. Poner for yo. Poner for yo becomes ponga, which means I put. Ponga. Rogar for ellos. Rogar for ellos. Rogar for ellos becomes rueguen, which means they beg. Rueguen. Saber for tú. Saber for tú. Saber for tú becomes sepas, which means you know. Sepas. Salir for ella. Salir for ella. Salir for ella becomes salga, which means she goes out. Salga. Ser for usted. Ser for usted. Ser for usted becomes sea, which means you are. Sea. Traer for nosotros. Traer for nosotros. Traer for nosotros becomes triagamos, which means we bring. Triagamos. Valer for él. Valer for él. Valer for él becomes valga, which means it is worth. Valga. Venir for yo. Venir for yo. Venir for yo becomes venga, which means I come to. Venga. Rezar for ustedes. Rezar for ustedes. Rezar for ustedes becomes recen, which means y'all worship. Recen. Sentir for nosotros. Sentir for nosotros. Sentir for nosotros becomes sintamos, which means we feel. Sintamos. Seguir for yo. Seguir for yo. Seguir for yo becomes siga, which means I follow. Siga. Acostar for ella. Acostar for ella. Acostar for ella becomes acueste, which means she lays down. Acueste. Abrir for ustedes. Abrir for ustedes. Abrir for ustedes becomes abran, which means y'all open. Abran. Despedir for yo. Despedir for yo. Despedir for yo becomes despida, which means I dismiss. Despida. Devolver for nosotros. Devolver for nosotros. Devolver for nosotros becomes devolvamos, which means we return. Devolvamos. Escoger for tú. Escoger for tú. Escoger for tú becomes escojas, which means you choose. Escojas. Huir for yo. Huir for yo. Huir for yo becomes huya, which means I run away. Huya. Organizar for nosotros. Organizar for nosotros. Organizar for nosotros becomes organicemos, which means we organize. Organicemos. Obtener for usted. Obtener for usted. Obtener for usted becomes obtenga, which means you get. Obtenga. Parecer for nosotros. Parecer for nosotros. Parecer for nosotros becomes periscamos, which means we seem. Periscamos. Soler for tú. Soler for tú. Soler for tú becomes suelas, which means you usually. Suelas. Traducir for yo. Traducir for yo. Traducir for yo becomes traduzca, which means I translate. Traduzca. Volver for él. Volver for él. Volver for él becomes vuelva, which means he returns. Vuelva. Volar for nosotros. Volar for nosotros. Volar for nosotros becomes volemos, which means we fly. Volemos. Sentar for nosotros. Sentar for nosotros. Sentar for nosotros becomes sentemos, which means we sit. Sentemos. Recoger for ustedes. Recoger for ustedes. Recoger for ustedes becomes recojan, which means they pick up. Recojan. Preferir for nosotros becomes prefiramos, which means we prefer. Prefiramos. Secar for tú. Secar for tú. Secar for tú becomes seques, which means you dry out. Seques. Proteger for yo. Proteger for yo. Proteger for yo becomes proteja, which means I protect. Proteja. Probar for ella. Probar for ella. Probar for ella becomes puede, which means she tries. Puede. Well, that was it for the irregular present subjunctive conjugation practice. How did you do? Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. That'll be all for today. So, adios. Bye.